Just let me know, Dunn.
Okay, I think Allison Schlick and Bill Powers were also going to join us. So it should just be a few more seconds here, or a few more minutes.
Yeah, that's no problem. Trust me. I mean, I'm the one with the issues because I use all of, the platforms, WebEx, Teams, everything. So I need to shut them one one off and then, continue. It's really very interesting. Can I do my mute here?
Good morning.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Member Powers. Okay.
You're good?
All right.
Perfect. So I think, we are. Let me know.
Okay, it looks like we have a quorum and everybody is present. And so we can go ahead and get started.
Well, thank you, everybody, and good morning. And good morning, members of the public, if they have actually joined us this morning. Today is Thursday, September 9th, 2021, and this is the San Diego County Air Pollution Control District Hearing Board meeting. We are certainly going to be proceeding, and Dawn, I know that you need to read, that your verbiage, and please provide the introduction for everybody. Okay.
Okay, so you're ready for me to call the roll then?
Well, go ahead. So I thought that you were going to be just reading the usual due to the coronavirus. The pandemic. We're meeting, via Zoom. But that if yes, no, please go ahead. Do that, and also, do the roll call as well.
Oh, okay. So let's do the roll. And actually, so before I call the roll, I would like to note for the record that all members are participating via teleconference, and as such, all votes will be taken by roll call. So Chair Rodriguez.
Here.
Member Hurst.
Here.
Member Powers.
Here.
Member Schlick.
Present.
And Member Spencer.
Here.
Okay. So on our agenda today is just one administrative item, the approval of the minute orders, or this otherwise known as the statement of proceedings for the August 26th meeting. And you may be wondering why we're meeting just to approve minutes. Not only are the meeting minutes a official record of what happened during our previous meeting, but also from these meeting minutes, I create what are called board orders, and they're copied directly from the meeting minutes, and it's just kind of an official record that is sent to the actual petitioner, and I send it to them via certified mail, so they actually sign for it. But just so you know, that's one of the most important things that come out of this, is that official record that is noted in a board order. So what I'll do is I can share my screen and you can all see the minutes and we can go over them. And hopefully this will let me do this.
I just wanted to add that not only what Don indicated, but the hearing board has a set of rules, and within those rules, which I welcome everybody to get acquainted with, definitely establishes, the need, to provide, those board orders to the petitioner. So that's really very critical, for them, to definitely have the guidance, and the requirements to come into compliance.
Yes. So can everybody see the meeting minutes?
Yes, we can.
You can. Okay.
So, I know that these meeting minutes were distributed, to everybody, to all the board members. Certainly a copy, was provided to council as well, for both the hearing board and the APCD, as well as to, members of the APCD, compliance division, and definitely those who represent us here with regards to the hearing board business. So have you had an opportunity, and this question actually goes to the board members, to review and provide comments, on these board orders, statement of proceedings?
I've reviewed them and I have a couple questions. I wasn't at the meeting.
I have a couple questions as well.
Okay, so Member Powers, you definitely reviewed, you were not at the meetings. Please proceed with your questions.
One is, it looks like the Public Utilities Department has an obligation to get us a game plan for the wastewater treatment plant within 10 working days. So does that mean that we're going to see something from the Public Utilities Department by, say, tomorrow? So that's a question. And two, on the second page, Dawn, if you want to scroll down to the bottom of the second page, it shows Member Spencer voting aye, and then a few minutes later, Member Spencer is absent. Did Member Spencer leave the meeting, or is that supposed to be abstain or no?
So Member Spencer was present for that first part of the meeting when we did vote for additional documents to be entered into the record. And then before we could get to the second part of voting at the end of the meeting, Member Spencer had to leave early.
Good. Well, then it's correct.
It is correct, yes.
Yeah, the meeting went past noon, and he had to leave around noon.
Thank you. That's all I have.
And
go ahead. I don't think, that we have answered, Member Powers' question as of yet. I believe, that your first question, Member Powers, was whether or not, we expect, an increment of progress, for example, or, as we actually call it, a detailed timeline by tomorrow. We would not be getting that information as board members, but definitely this information needs to be provided, to the APCD.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. That Member Schlick, if I can actually just finish with Member Powers. Anything else, Bill?
No, thank you. That's all I had.
Thank you. Member Schlick, that you definitely raised your hand, and indicated that you actually have comments or questions. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to follow up because I had, so I was at the meeting, Member Powers, and my understanding, and when I read the minutes, I had questions come up in my head about this same section here about petitioner, because the petitioners for the stipulated abatement order include both the Public Utilities Department and the APCD. So my understanding, so I would suggest or ask if we could make this a little bit more specific in our minutes, because my understanding was in the first condition that petitioner, the Public Utilities Department of the City of San Diego, was going to provide a detailed timeline to the APCD district. And then on the meeting that we're going to be having as a hearing board on September 23rd, the petitioner APCD district was going to provide a status update on like whether they had gotten that timeline and whether they had gotten any of the increments of progress, such as like hiring the the contractor to do the work who would be ordering the parts. You know what I mean? Like just like those first kind of two things. So I just would suggest that maybe, that we would say petitioner City of San Diego for the first condition and petitioner district or something like that. Okay. I don't know. Anyway, does that make sense?
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a really very good point for clarity as well. I mean, because definitely, it is, I mean, the APCD who is to comment on the 23rd. I mean, definitely, the City of San Diego will certainly be, I guess, notified, I mean, of the meeting as well. Plus, they actually have all those notes. I hope they did take notes, and they can accompany us as well. I mean, but yes, it would be the APCD. Great point for clarity.
Yeah, just because it seemed to be my understanding that the city representative doesn't have to attend that hearing board meeting, but that we're hoping that they are getting everything together to the district, the APCD district members, so that they can just report on how it's going. So I don't know. And especially if that's going to be in the order that they get officially, I wouldn't want them to be confused which petitioner is which. So anyway, that's about it.
Yeah, as an indicator for clarity, definitely, I think, that this is a really very good comment as well. Yes, I mean, petitioners do not need to be at the meetings, I mean, particularly, which is kind of an interesting training element, that I bet that it was presented, I mean, before during the training sessions. Yep. I mean, so any other comments, I mean, from the members of the board? Good. I mean, that because I definitely asked the same question, I mean, to the APCD to make sure, however, that we have actually captured the intent of the board orders correctly and with clarity, I mean, Member Schlick, and the same time, that it does not go beyond what was captured, particularly on the audio tape, so which is really very critical. So who's going to be speaking, I mean, on behalf of the APCD, I mean, to see any feedback? I mean, would that be Julie?
Rodriguez, yeah, Julie will be. I just wanted to add a couple clarifications in response to the questions. Again, Vice Chair Schlick, I think that was a very helpful clarification. That's where we understood. I think it wasn't quite as captured, so this is great update. The city did provide us a lot of documentation just yesterday, which we're actively reviewing. So we will provide with the update, and I know the city will be available to answer questions at next hearing. And I also want to make clear that since the district submitted the petition for the stipulated abatement order, when it comes to abatement orders, stipulated abatement orders, the district's the petitioner and the city is the respondent. And I think there's some language in there that's reversed in the board. And that's, I think Julie's going to respond to that. I think to make it simpler, we might just include the city and the district. So I'll let Julie comment if she'd like.
No, thank you very much. Go ahead, Julie.
So yeah, William basically just covered everything, and I think that's okay. I did see Dawn editing while the members were talking, the board members. So I think that was resolved. But yes, since we haven't had a stipulated abatement order in quite some time, it's easy to forget because usually we're not the petitioner. So city is the respondent and district is petitioner. And then we are currently reviewing and expect, they did provide a lot of good information. We probably will go back and ask for a little bit more to give a more thorough update for the September 23rd meeting.
Question, did they provide, they provided information, did they provide, out of curiosity, a timeline?
They did provide a timeline. My only question that, and I haven't had a chance to really go through it with William yet, but it looks like it's still just proposal timeline. I haven't seen an actual, hire date for Orion, but the start date is supposed to be next week on the 13th. So hopefully either this week or next week we'll know if that start date is official, and if it's not, then get an updated timeline before the meeting.
Perfect. I think, they're going on the right track, so which is what, I mean, why I asked the question. I mean, are they actually completing their diligence and diligently, I mean, the requirements, I mean, to come to compliance. And that bottom line, that's what we need and that's what we desire. Perfect. Any other comments?
I have an announcement to make at the end, but just wanted to put that out there. Didn't want to get ahead of myself though.
Okay, I mean, so let's actually take care of the administrative item first. I mean, so do I get a motion to approve, I mean, with the revision just made, right now? Do we get a motion? Yeah, go ahead.
I would motion to approve the minutes with the changes that have been made by Dawn to the draft.
Do I get a second?
Hi, this is Member Hurst, and yes, I would second that.
Thank you so very much. I mean, so Dawn, could you please, I mean, call the roll?
Okay, Chair Rodriguez.
Yes.
Member Hurst.
Yes.
Member Powers.
Yes.
Member Schlick.
Yes.
And Member Spencer.
Yes.
Okay, that motion passes with all board members being present and voting yes.
Thank you so very much. I mean, I believe that we actually have an announcement. I mean, so Mr. Jacques, I mean, could you please share with us?
Absolutely. So you can see that Dan Plotner is on the line. I know Chair Rodriguez, you might remember Dan. He was our civil action investigator that presented in front of this board many times on different petitions. He has actually been most recently promoted to program coordinator. That was my old position. That one of their roles is overseeing the hearing board. I will definitely still be involved and be attending meetings, especially the challenging ones. But Dan's going to play a larger role now regarding this. So you'll see him in the future. So I just want to make that announcement and recognize and congratulate Dan.
Well, yes, welcome back home, Dan. I mean, you know that when it comes to, I mean, that kind of fantastic focused writing, I mean, that much technical ability, I mean, that I bask, in your write-ups, so thank you so very much. I mean, so this is fantastic. Congratulations. And the only thing that I have to say is welcome back home, so, it's a small world, could you please want to address, the board?
Yes, you're very kind, Chair Rodriguez, and it's good to see a familiar face still here because this meeting has changed quite a bit in a couple years since the last time I attended one. So I look forward to working with everybody and getting to know everybody. And thank you, Chair Rodriguez, for your very kind words. I'm flattered by those. Thank you.
Well, the other members of the board, I mean, we will see what is it that you speak of, that very soon. Okay, so certainly, I mean, the team continues to be stronger and stronger every single time, and the quality of the presentations by the APCD as well as for petitioners has increased considerably. So, and I truly believe that this is for everybody's benefit, I mean, within the county. Anybody else would like to address, the board at this point in time? I do have a question, though. One last question, Mr. Jack. What is your new position now?
So for a year, as the transition to the new board, I was acting chief of compliance. So I think as of about a month now, I'm the official chief of compliance.
Welcome. Congratulations to you both. I mean,
thanks so much, Hillary.
I know. I mean, that we go way back, and again, the district could not have better people. I mean, that's again. I know that it may be a little biased. I mean, I don't want to definitely taint anybody. I mean, but this is kind of positive prejudice on that one, shall we say? So, I mean, thank you so very much. Again, one last time. Anything else that we need to address? I mean, in front of the board. Well, I mean, if that is the case, I mean, this meeting is adjourned. Folks, I wish you a wonderful weekend, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.